Welcome to the latest edition of Beyond the Arc. I'm John Gonzalez alongside our NBA insider, Bill Ryder, who was just hazing me along with our producer prior to the show because I'm wearing sweat clothes. You're hazing me over my athleisure.
AV Club, what you're wearing. I went into an AV Club like 6 months ago to get one of those things, and it cost more than my car. So I turned and walked out. I didn't know that's how you roll, bro. You're buying all the dinners going forward. Nice outfit.
It's an Aviator Nation sweatshirt that was gifted to me, and I'm catching heat over. So this is how we begin the show today.
Looks good.
Later in the show, we'll discuss a little Rockets and Lakers. My Rockets lost to the Lakers last night. They can muck up any game. We're also going to do a contenders draft. It's kind of a running joke for us at CBSSports.com where the producers will prompt us to Bill and I to draft like the 12 teams that can win the NBA championship. So we're just going to do a little contenders a little bit later on. But first, we're going to start with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, as everybody knows, fired Taylor Jenkins. They've got a new head coach. He's 0-2, Bill. They lost to the Lakers over the weekend in his first game. They lost to the Celtics last night. They only scored 103 points. They've now lost 3 in a row and 7 of 10. This is something I didn't realize, Bill. They mentioned it on the broadcast last night. They've lost 11 in a row to teams over 500. And last night they had Ja has played in the last 2 games. He played last night. Triple J was out there. Bane was out there. Not great right now for the Grizz.
There's always this question, if you fire a really good coach who's hated, is that going to go well? It probably shouldn't be debated in front offices. If you fire a really good coach who's pretty well liked, will it go well? I mean, what did the Grizzlies front office expect? What did they think was going to happen when, by all accounts, and I won't pretend to know, but if you read the local reporting out of Memphis and the guy that covers the team for the commercial appeal and folks that are plugged in, it sure sounds like, and just the comments that we've seen, it sure sounds like what they're saying publicly, the players, is what they felt privately, which is they like Taylor Jenkins and they didn't want him to go, certainly at this juncture. And so not a surprise, and it just reinforces, John, not just a shock, but I think is disgust fair? Certainly it's my perspective, my sort of disgust that this was going to be successful. It probably wasn't going to be in so far small sample size that it has not been.
We mentioned this on yesterday's show. I just think it bears repeating that the timing here is so curious and it's such a high risk move. Like, I don't understand why with a team that has a good point differential that still projects to make the playoffs proper and not slip into the postseason basketball or into the play. And the Basketball References forecast model has them at 66% to finish with a top 6 seed. So 33% that they slip into a play-in. But like, you don't have a ton of margin for error there. Why not just wait until the offseason if you already have decided, hey, Taylor Jenkins is not our guy? And Zach Kleiman talked about this and said, well, urgency is of the essence. Urgency is a core principle is what he called it for us. But like, just wait. If urgency is such a core principle, like, why didn't you come up with this idea sooner then? I mean, like it was so urgent. You waited until the final 10 games of the season. And now Tomas Isalo, who's the new head coach, is saddled with this thing where, like, he's going to get a ton of heat. Zach Kleiman's going to get a ton of heat. I just don't. And what you were saying about the players, like how they reacted to this. I mean, it sounded like Ja was taken aback by it. He said that, he likes Taylor Jenkins and that he's the only coach he's ever had. Triple J called him my dog. He'll be my dog forever. They had to call a team meeting because of this, Bill.
I mean, Kleiman's urgency to be urgent. I mean, what is it? It's news speak. It's I don't know what he's talking about. Here's, I think, and there's a really good case study. Had they waited to the offseason to get rid of a very successful coach who maybe isn't the right fit. Good coaches, great coaches, can be relieved of their duties and it can work out. And look no further than Cleveland. That has worked out for everybody. J.B. Bickerstaff goes away. Kenny Atkinson comes in, and everybody wins, right? I mean, like, going back to last summer. So if they had waited, and Memphis had made the playoffs as the 4 or the 5 or this whatever seed, and they had lost in the first round or whatever happened, they made the second round, whatever happened, and then they had moved on from Taylor Jenkins. Institutionally, it doesn't feel like there's panic. It doesn't make, in my opinion, the GM look like he's irrational. We don't know what happened, but I think it's reasonable to suppose this was as much about personality conflict as it was basketball decision. That's not how you run a team. It doesn't create, as you said, this reality where now this poor interim coach and really the GM none of this makes any sense. Just see it through, let this guy coach in the playoffs, and you either win an NBA championship or you get rid of the guy if that's what the plan was going to be.
This is
Just like Cleveland did last year.
You and I were both really high on the Grizz, and Ja hasn't been out there for a big chunk of the season, but he's back now. Jaren Jackson Jr. is back. He had an ankle issue. Bane's out. They've got their team that's healthy, and you're limping into the playoffs, and you can't beat good teams. Like, that's super concerning. I realize, again, that the forecast models have them making the playoffs proper, but still, like, wherever and we're going to do a contender draft. I'm super interested to see which one of us takes the Grizzlies and where, because we went from both being very high on the Grizzlies to now all of a sudden going, man, like this situation, like a lot of it is a self-inflicted wound, but they're just also not playing good basketball right now. I do not like the way that they're going to the playoffs. All right. So elsewhere in the Western Conference, we're going to get to Rockets and Lakers in just a second. We should mention all the suspensions just came down from the other night from that little scrap between the Wolves and the Pistons.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to go for the two instigators, 5 and 6 games, and for other people in the 3 to 4 range.
Wow. Okay. You won heavier hand. You're an authoritarian and want all of those guys
authoritarian.
Never to play
funny these days.
Oh, that's true. That's hard to argue.
No.
Bill rules with an iron fist. No, Isaiah Stewart got 2 games and then one game. Yeah, 2 games for Isaiah Stewart and then 1 game each for Dante, Ron Holland, Nas.
Wow. So, I mean, Nurkic and who was it? Najee Marshall, when they got into it in December, got 3 and 4 games.
Yeah.
And that didn't go into the stand.
This was more pushing and shoving-ish.
But fans were, I mean, look, I know it was like fans at the very sort of periphery.
Yeah. Oh, so Isaiah Stewart.
That's
Aaron
crazy.
Points out that Beef Stew is a repeat offender. Maybe that factored into it. So he got 2 games.
It's the end of the year. And these are both those teams are significantly chasing things. Yeah. And so integrity of the game.
Yeah, you don't want to put your thumb on the scale too much because that could really like impact where they end up in the playoff race. Wolves in action tonight too. So no Dante DiVincenzo and no Nas Reed. All right, Rockets and Lakers from last night. Rockets were in town. My Houston Rockets, Bill, had been on a heater, had won 12 of 13. They lost last night. Lakers held them to just 98 points. I guess not all that surprising because the Rockets offense isn't that great, although previously they had just scored 148 points, so who knows with that. But the season series is now tied at 1 game apiece. It's the 11th straight home win for the Lakers versus the Western Conference. They're now just a game back of the Nuggets. Though that like 2 through 7 grouping in the Western Conference continues to be super fun and also like kind of unknowable.
Let me ask you a question, because you love the Rockets and whatever your weird infection of Rockets love has infected our producer just before the show. They didn't win. They didn't score 100 points, right? Do you want to tell me how great they are? I mean, is this the most? I don't understand.
Do I take them first in the NBA Contenders Draft
over everybody? And with the first pick,
you know, I think like just watching that game last night, that was a really good game. It was a really fun game. It was a close game. The Rockets were right there with the Lakers. They made life very difficult for the Lakers. I think that the Lakers didn't want to really, given their druthers, I don't think the Lakers wanted to play that particular style of game. It's that the Rockets can really muck up any kind of game with any kind of team. And Luka wasn't particularly efficient last night. LeBron wasn't particularly efficient last night. Amin Thompson made life pretty difficult for Luka to the point where he was, especially at the end of the first half, where he was complaining to the refs about foul calls. And Amin was like telling him, you know, like I blocked your shot there, and they were kind of laughing about it. The problem with the Rockets, as you mentioned, is they're offensively challenged. They're not a good shooting team. Bill, they had no free throws or second chance points in the first half. That's a tough way to win a game. And as it turns out, they did not win.
No, I mean, you and I think we are both very high on Houston on very different timelines.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know, I'm going to sound like a jerk here, but when I was in college, right, there were girls you dated in the moment, and there were girls you thought, you know, I'm going to be friends. Like, maybe that's more a couple when I'm in a better, more mature place. That's the Rockets. Like, I'm here for the Rockets, just not today. I do think we've discussed this. I think that they're last year's Thunder minus SGA. I don't know who their like future MVP level player is that gets them to the next level, but they're young and they're deep and they play really good defense, and those guys are going to grow as players, and maybe some of them grow into offensive stars you can really rely on, or maybe you trade some of them, and they have a bunch of assets. I love Houston, and I love that they're overachieving. I think it bodes really well for the future. Last night's game, just a reminder, they're really good, they're really long, they're athletic, they play great defense, they hustle, they're extraordinarily well coached by the guy that got kicked out of Boston. Like, worth pointing out that guy's been – I can't believe in them now. I do in the future.
What Aaron points out from what he saw up close and personal, because he was at the game last night, and this is what I like about them, is they are gigantic and incredibly athletic. Like, Amin Thompson moves at a speed that shouldn't be possible for somebody his size. Dylan Brooks is such a nudge, right? He's such like an aggravator and an agitator, and he was like really giving it to, he loves to jaw and like get under people's skin, and like that whole team, I've been saying it all season long, it's greater than the sum of its parts, right? They still don't have, Amin Thompson is probably their best player, unless you want to go Alperen Şengün, but neither of those guys really is the guy that you want in the clutch to like get you a single basket. However, I love all of their interchangeable athleticism. Like, all of a sudden, here comes Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore, and like their benches. Now Jabari Smith is on the bench. I mean, when we were talking yesterday about if KD ended up getting traded this offseason, and if he landed in Houston, what could they get back? I totally forgot about Jabari Smith. He's just like a guy now that they bring off of the bench who any other team would be like, man, that would be awesome if he was in our starting rotation or possibly a six man. So they're really loaded, but they do need that main guy.
Yeah. And producer Aaron makes, I think, an interesting point, because I saw them twice this year. I think both time against the Warriors, where I sat close, and you're up close, and producer Aaron has really good seats to the Lakers, where he sat close yesterday. Or guys people that can afford the clothes you're wearing who just buy the floor seats, right? If you're one of these three groups, like they're enormous, and they are long, and they are fast, and they're athletic. They are a tremendous basketball team. They can't score, and they're not bad offensively. I think they're 13th or 14th. It varies game to game in offensive rating, but they're fine offensively. A year from now, if they make that leap, if they make that jump, they're gonna, either because they bring in somebody else or some of those guys get better, they're gonna be awesome. So if you're John with the money and you've set it close enough,
you're acting like I'm wearing Versace or something. It's
kind of is. It's like a Rolex of sweaters,
of sweatshirts. Let's take a quick break, and then on the other side, we're going to do our contender draft. And I do have one observation about the Lakers that I want to run past you, so we'll do that coming up. This is Beyond the Arc.
The clock never stops. Relive the greatest moments with uninterrupted highlights and more.
It's Darius Bayer. Wonderful goal.
On the UEFA Champions League channel. Streaming free.
All right, welcome back to Beyond the Arc. A reminder, you can get us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Please download, subscribe, leave a review on Spotify. If you look below the play button on the Spotify app in full screen mode, you can leave us a comment or a question about the show. Before we get to the contender draft, Bill, so I was watching the Lakers-Rockets game last night, and it occurred to me that, and then especially in the post-game show afterwards, that JJ Redick just has looked pained all season. He does not look like he's enjoying himself. Coaching the Lakers looks like it's a lot of stress for him. He's aging in president years. His hair used to be closer to mine, where you could see like some gray he has previously had black hair. Now it's like pretty salt and pepper. We are like another 5 to 10 games away, like mid-season playoffs, from him being full gray. Like I'm a little bit concerned about JJ.
You lean more into JJ's the greatest person ever, and I lean more into he can be a little ornery. Is it the basketball stress, or because having disgust and anger can sort of make it, ugly stuff on the inside can make it look ugly on the outside sometimes. Is it just his interactions with the media and the disgust with which they ask questions like, how'd the game go? And he's always mad at the media.
In the post-game press conference, our guy Dave McMenamin from ESPN, kind of like, I was watching this, and you and I are practitioners of the art. We know how press conferences can go, and Dave McMenamin and JJ get along really well. And you could kind of sense that JJ was like kind of put out about them not playing very well last night. And McMenamin, like, I think almost like gave him a softball question to like get JJ to pump the brakes being so stressed
Dave
out.
McMenamin gave a softball question? Wow.
Well, it was just, he was asking about Vando's shooting to give him like a little bit of a break. And JJ went on this thing about, Rui missing 5 3-pointers that were open. And I was like, man, somebody's got to go check this dude's blood pressure. Like, we're not even in the postseason right now. And like, this is his first season of coaching the Lakers. And this guy is like, he is gripping the wheel way too tight. That's all. That was my observation from last. I worry about JJ's health.
I love what you said. He is aging in not even years, in president weeks. It is fast. It's speeding up.
We need a before and after picture of JJ at the beginning of the season, or like podcaster JJ when he was just yucking it up and drinking wine with LeBron, to like now, fewer than 10 games to go in the regular season. I just want to see that picture. All right, we're going to do a contender draft, an NBA contender draft. We're going to just draft some teams until we get tired of drafting them. You get to go first. It's a gentleman's draft. We're just going to go back and forth. We're not going to do snake draft or anything like that. And we'll just see who we come up with here. So you get the first pick.
By the way, this isn't the easy one for me, but I don't know if it'll be.
I think I know who you're going. I know it. Yeah, we do too much basketball talk together. I knew you were going to go Boston. Explain why.
Look, every team in the top 3 are going to be great. Top 5 in offensive and defensive rating, have won 9 in a row, are starting to. There weren't that many cobwebs, but whatever sort of residual hangover or just whatever insouciance, it's gone. I think they're the best team in the NBA, and I do think, even though there's maybe two big dogs, 2 giants in the East and only one in the West, I think the East is pretty easy otherwise. There's a lot of landmines in the Western Conference, and so put all that together, it's barely over the team that I know you're going to take, but I'll take the Celtics.
They are playing so well right now. They've won 9 in a row, and that stretch in January, February, where they couldn't hit a shot, like the entire team had caught whatever virus gives you an inability to make a shot. That's over now. Now, all of a sudden, Jrue Holiday, who isn't really having that great of a season by Jrue Holiday standards, he's also playing really well right now. It's at the perfect time. Those guys, maybe, I think there's something to like that little bit of malaise, that little bit of, put your feet up. We just want a championship. Like, we don't really have to mash the accelerator right now. Also, as you mentioned, they're in the Eastern Conference. They can look around and go, they know what we know, that it's the Cavs and them.
They were in second gear, and they were never really threatened for anything worse than being the second seed in the East, right? So it's not as if they had this malaise and they were 5 or 6 and they had to, oh man, we got to what time is it? We got to go. Even, playing well, but not playing with real urgency for a big chunk of the season. Outside of Cleveland, they were clearly the best team in the Eastern Conference.
All right. So that doesn't surprise me that you took the Celtics. I'm going to take Oklahoma City. I mean, they're the best team in the NBA right now. They're going to finish with the best net rating in NBA history. They have probably the MVP. If they win out, they're going to hit 70 wins. Their defense is absolutely dominant. They could also very well finish with the best point differential in NBA history. And they're just loaded with so many different, we were talking about the Rockets having so many different athletic interchangeable parts. The same is true of Oklahoma City. Sam Presti has done a masterful job building that roster. For me, it's the Thunder. Can I just run one thing by you? I was looking at the Thunder last night, just, marveling over their team. Lou Dort, who is will make all defense. And you have a vote this year. We're going to have a show where we go through all NBA, all defense, all the awards.
We'll do a show ballot. We'll do it together.
We're going to do a show ballot. It's going to be fun. Lou Dort's going to make all defense, either first or second team. Bill, he's also in terms of 3 and D, he's the guy, right? He makes plenty of threes. He has not shot a free throw, however, since mid-February, since February 12th. He's only taken 5 free throws in the last 19 games.
That's a crazy stat.
I was staring at it. I was like, is this right? Is this possible? And he plays 30 minutes a game. He's always out there. You would think he'd get fouled accidentally and end up, but this doesn't really, none of this matters. I was marveling over it.
I'm glad you brought it up. It's very weird.
It's very weird. All right. You get another team.
I mean, it's Cleveland, right? Like, whoever goes 1 was always going to get Cleveland. They're awesome. They're great. Kenny Atkinson, best offense in the NBA, top 10 defense, blah, 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 blah. And by the way, I am more skeptical than I should be, and certainly than you are, of teams that haven't done it, right? Like, not that I don't believe, I just want to see it. And Cleveland and Oklahoma City fit into that. I still would be utterly shocked if at a minimum the Cavs don't make the conference finals. I would be stunned.
Yeah, I would be too. I mean, I think, whoever they draw in the second round, I mean, I don't like anybody else in the East. In fact, as I was doing this thought experiment about this contenders draft, when I had to go on HQ like a month ago when they asked me to come up with 10 teams that could win that could win the NBA title, I had the 2 teams that you just took in the Eastern Conference, and everybody else was in the Western Conference. I didn't even bother with the Knicks. And I think, the Knicks coming back with Jalen Brunson is fantastic. And, they've managed to keep their head above water. They went 7-5 without him, and he says that he's close, and that's really good. And OG Anunoby is playing great. I'm really curious now as we go through this exercise, how long we'll go before we get to another Eastern Conference team. And now that it's my turn to draft, I don't like that you took the Cavs because I was hoping you'd take one of the Western Conference teams because I don't know who I'm going to pick here. This is really difficult.
If I had this pick, I knew who I would take.
I'm not going to take the Rockets. For me, it's going to come down to the Nuggets, the Lakers, or the Warriors. The Nuggets obviously have the best player in the NBA and in the world. The Lakers have 2 incredible players, and the Warriors have 3 guys who just fit really well together and have played amazingly since Jimmy Butler came over. This is really difficult for me. I guess I'll take the Nuggets, but I don't feel great about it.
I mean, I get all the. By the way, I was going to. So I am now going to take the Warriors. Okay. But had I not, I would have taken Denver if you had taken Golden State. Yeah, I mean, some of the issue here too on Golden State is a big risk in the sense that they're not out of the play-in yet. There is no guarantee that the T-Wolves don't catch them, or hell, the Clippers could catch them. I mean, it's really a 3-team race for that 6th spot. So I'm hedging. By the way, and if whoever comes out of the play and plays the Rockets, I think if it's the Rockets, and it probably will be, but it's not a lock that Rockets will be 2. I think that path is doable, even though it's not great. But Golden State since Jimmy Butler came on board, we've talked about it. They're top 6 in offensive and defensive rating over that stretch. Their record is outstanding. He has unlocked Steph offensively and Draymond defensively. I mean, we've talked a lot about Steph Curry. The other day, Draymond has gone from being, on the list of potential defensive players of the year to the betting favorite. And that shift, it corresponds with Jimmy being on the team. So they're a different squad with Jimmy. We know that. I think they can win it all. They probably won't. And I'll just say it again, to your point about the West, if the Warriors had to go through the Celtics and the Cavs, it'd be harder to get the thought experiment down, or Denver for your pick. But they don't. There's only one team you have to worry about in the West. As a sure
Draymond really has been playing great. Our guy, friend of the show, Seth Curry, who we had on the podcast last week, encourage everybody to go check that out on YouTube. You can find that over at Beyond the Arc CBS on YouTube. Said that he should be Defensive Player of the Year, that he's the best defensive player in the NBA because he can guard so many different positions and he's so versatile and he makes life so difficult for you. The reason why I didn't take the Warriors and I ended up taking the Nuggets is the Nuggets are solidly a playoff team and the Warriors might be a play-in team.
Yeah,
the Grizzlies, according to Basketball Reference's playoff probability, are still favored to end up in the playoffs proper. Golden State, Clippers, and the Wolves are 3 teams jockeying for that final 6th spot. And right now, Bill, the favorite to end up in that 6th spot, according to Basketball Reference, is the Wolves, which would put the Warriors and the Clippers into the play-in. And then you got to fight your way out and who knows what could happen. And then, I think if the Warriors come out as the 7 seed, okay, you're going to be all right. You have a chance against whoever you draw. If the Warriors end up falling to the 8th seed, now all of a sudden that first round series would be like blockbuster.
They've played well against the Thunder. I mean, they have, but that's not the path you want.
Wow. Can you imagine though, if that ends up as the 1-8 matchup and either Oklahoma City, who's been the best team with the potential MVP, point differential, net rating, all of these historic defensive rating that's out of control, all these historic things that they've done this season, if they get bounced in the first round, or conversely, if Steph Curry goes home in the first round, after what they've done with Jimmy, woo.
Even if that game goes 6 or 7, if you're the Thunder, part of what you want to earn is a fairly easy beginning, 5-game series, not a lot of wear and tear, getting rhythm. Yeah, no, but I know we're going to get to some of this. The other teams that are currently in the play-in spots aren't pushovers. I mean, no, they'll probably beat the Thunder, but it's a different reality than out east.
All right, I'll do one more and then we'll take a quick timeout. So you've got Boston, the Cavs, and the Warriors. I've got Oklahoma City and the Nugs. It really had come down to Nugs, Warriors, and Lakers for me for my pick. So I'm going to take the Lakers in this spot just because, as I was reminded last night against my Houston Rockets, when you've got Luka and you've got LeBron, even when Luka and LeBron are not playing necessarily very well, they're still really hard to beat. I mean, it's amazing. I'm watching that game, and I was actually talking to a friend of mine who was watching it at the same time, and he's like, man, like Luka is so amazing. I can't believe, doing what we've been doing, what everybody in basketball has been doing, which I can't believe that the Mavericks would trade a guy who's in his prime at 25 years old and had made 5 straight first team all NBA selections. And you put him alongside the greatest player of all time, who's still playing like one of the greatest players of all time at 40 years old. And when we do your ballot show, I'll be really interested to see where you end up placing LeBron, either first or second team all in NBA, because he's been fantastic.
I mean, I think LeBron is. I was just having this conversation on the radio show I do before we do this. Having it with myself.
Yeah.
I think LeBron might be 5 for me. I mean, he's in the mix, which makes him first team.
Yeah. I was talking to Sam about this last week, and Sam had, I believe, Donovan Mitchell because he wanted to reward the best player on the best team in the Eastern Conference, and he thought the Cavs should have a selection. And I said, I love Donovan Mitchell. I don't know necessarily this is one of his best seasons. And also, I think Evan Mobley might have had a better season for the Cavs, but I don't fault him for putting him there. I just think if we're going by the season in its entirety, I would probably even have Jalen Brunson ahead of Donovan Mitchell. Now, Jalen Brunson might not qualify. He's stuck at 61 games. He needs 4 more games to hit the threshold. So we'll see if he gets those in. It's going to be tight.
If Brunson got to 65, I'll say this. If Brunson had not gotten hurt or been hurt half as long and had gotten to 73 games, I might have him ahead of LeBron. And if he gets to 65, it's in the mix. It's in the mix at that 5 spot.
My whole point here is that how amazing is it that the Lakers have LeBron playing at that level? And now, by the way, that they pair him with Lou, I cannot wait for the Western Conference playoffs, Bill. Whatever matchups we get are going to be outrageously fun. It's going to be so entertaining. Let's take another break. And then on the other side, we will continue with our NBA Contenders Draft. Bill's pick is up next. This is Beyond the Arc.
Guys, can you feel it? Legends were born here. History was made here. These are hallowed grounds.
Hallowed grounds?
The NCIS squad room?
Well, I wasn't talking about that, but I was talking about Augusta National.
All right. It's finally time for the Masters.
I hear it's a tradition unlike any other.
All right, welcome back to Beyond the Arc. A reminder, you can find us on YouTube at Beyond the Arc CBS. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell symbol. You'll get notified when we go live. Producer Aaron, to the point that we were just talking about before we went to break about like these matchups, how fun they could be. Tonight is a huge game. The Grizz, as we mentioned, on a 3-game losing streak, they've lost 7 of 10. They lost last night to the Celtics, who smacked them around. They got the Warriors tonight, Bill, another huge game. If the Warriors win that game, it will be Lakers Warriors in the 4-5 after tonight, which would be also super fun, because then all of a sudden either Luka and LeBron go home or Jimmy, Draymond, and Steph do. That would be crazy.
And the Lakers have a brutal schedule the rest of the way. I mean, so that's part of the reason that, because Memphis is playing awful, and they're right in the mix. By the way, I'm stalling for time because I don't know who to pick now.
See, this is what I was going to say. Now it gets really interesting because now, okay, well, off the board right now, you have Boston, the Cavs, and the Warriors. I took Oklahoma City, the Nugs, and the Lakers. Now you're down to some of those teams in the Western Conference that are good, but we have question marks that we've outlined. Or do you go to the East and take the Knicks?
But like Memphis has a top 10 offense and defense. They have but I can't.
A fantastic point differential. They've been really good. Yeah.
They've got 2 superstars.
Yeah.
Triple J's been a superstar.
But now Tomas Isalo is the head coach and Taylor Jenkins is out in the wind and the vibes are horrendous. One of the viewers that's watching on YouTube right now, F Montano, says that you should take maybe your Clippers. You love the Clippers. What about your Pacers?
I mean, the Pacers are on the list, but not quite yet. It's a little early. It's a little early for the Pacers. Oh man. I'm looking at the standings and
I know it's tough. This is a tough one. I know which way I'd go.
You know what? I almost went Clippers. I almost did it.
I mean, if Kawhi is back, that's not a terrible pick, right? I mean, that's a high risk, high reward pick. So still left on the board while you're thinking here for everybody that's listening. You've got the Rockets, the Grizz, the Warriors, the Wolves, and the Clippers in the Western Conference. We're going to put the Mavericks and the Kings to the side for a second. And then in the Eastern Conference, you've got everybody not named the Cavs and the Celtics.
All right, I'm going to do a cop-out here.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Knicks.
Okay.
Here's the reason why.
With a caveat.
there's a caveat here because some of this is now I've got the it's probably the Cavs or the Celtics, right? And I've got both Boston and Cleveland, so I have the East locked down. So if for some reason I'm wrong on one of those teams, basically now I have the only teams that can come out of the East. Even though the Knicks are 11% of the likelihood, right? I mean, it is 89%. It will be Boston or Cleveland. I'll take the Knicks just a short. I'm in the finals now. Whatever happens, me versus you, I am in the NBA. One of my teams in the NBA finals, 100%.
What percentage chance would you give? Because right now it would be the 2-3 matchup, so that the Knicks would end up with the Celtics in the second round. What percentage chance would you give them of beating Boston?
I mean, I'd give them 17%. I think if you played that thing 6 times, they could win one of them.
Specific number. I like that. So less than 1 in 5, but not by much. Just to go with Basketball Reference's playoff probability, they give the Knicks 4% chance to get out of the Eastern Conference. It's 95% according to Basketball Reference. That
I said 11.
Or the Celtics. Well, that's to win the whole conference. So for not only would I think your percentage chance of beating the Celtics is probably about right. If you play it however many times, maybe you give them a little less than 1 chance in 5. Things break right.
Yeah, but
aren't shooting well.
Yep.
Could happen.
I gave the Knicks an 11% chance of actually making the finals. So I was doubling up on optimism.
There you go. I'll take the Rockets. I think look. Now we're into the Western Conference teams where there's questions about all of them, right? We outlined, we like Memphis. We like, everything that they have done on paper, but right now they're playing horrendous basketball. The Clippers, is Kawhi going to be out there? The Wolves might have to come out of the play-in. Golden State's already off the board. Yeah, I'll just take the Rockets because they're athletic and they can play defense. And, who knows? Maybe they get super hot shooting the ball, even though they haven't done that all season. But I also, this other thing, I don't know how you are when, if you play fantasy or whatever, sometimes you just take a player that you want to watch. I'm taking a team that I like to watch. I enjoy watching Rockets basketball.
Okay. So a part of the reason that I took the Knicks because I knew you were going to take the Rockets. And so I actually was able to push down the team that I wanted because I'm going to fade the Rockets in whatever opening round series they have. And
I want to pause that right there. I was thinking about this when I was going through it. All right. So if they end up with the Lakers or the Warriors, I would take the Lakers or the Warriors. If they end up playing the Grizz, I think I'm leaning Rockets right now because
I might too, but
the way that they're playing. Wolves is close. Clippers is close. I think I'm taking the Rockets in those series too.
Clippers, I'm taking over. I mean, Kawhi's a big. So I'm drafting the Timberwolves here.
Okay.
Who are a top 10 offense and defense. And Edwards he is one of these guys that shines when it matters. It was true in the play-in a few years ago, when he made his sort of like, oh, wow, this guy's amazing debut. It was true last year down the stretch when they made that really nice postseason run. By the way, the Timberwolves can easily be the 6th seed, right? They could easily just miss the playoffs playing all together. You got to win the play-in game. There's some risk here for me. I'm taking them over Houston. We're doing 6 each, right? So that's my 5th team because I have.
Yeah. When we get to our playoff preview show, that will be very interesting because you're not alone in that. I mean, Sam was saying basically he's going to take several teams over the Rockets, basically no matter who the Rockets draw in that first round. I think it's Rockets disrespect. This is Rockets erasure. They're a good team. I think that could they lose to the Wolves? Absolutely. They could also lose to the Clippers, who I'm going to take right now. But I like the Rockets' chances. They're a good team, and anything can happen really in the Western Conference outside of, again, depending on who Oklahoma City draws in the first round. If it's the Warriors in the first round, man, that's going to be a mind melter.
Well, Montano, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, dude, makes a great point. In the West, the best strategy, if you don't have OKC, is to look at the teams they've had trouble with in the West. That would be the Warriors and the Timberwolves, which are the two that I actually love my draft. Every draft you love. I know, of course. There's the more you love your draft, the worse it is, by the way.
Always.
These things. Yeah.
You've got Boston, the Cavs, the Warriors, the Knicks, and the Wolves. I've got OKC, Nugs, Lakers, Rockets, and then I just took the Clippers as well. The Clippers, I mean, it's one of those teams where if Kawhi's out there, I took the Clippers.
Oh, I wanted them.
Which is so wild. The reversal that you done on the Clippers. You've really done a full 180 on this, but is Kawhi Leonard out there? And if he's out there, they could win a series, maybe even two. I think that's unlikely, but still it's possible in the Western Conference because all these teams are so close to each other. It's just like, what kind of Kawhi are you going to get? James Harden's had a nice season for them, and I'm a huge Norm Powell guy. So Ty Lue's done a great job with them. I think we do one more each because those are the teams I think you would expect to end up getting drafted. Now I know which way you're going to go now because you're going to be forced to take one of these teams. But now it's like you look around and you go, who do we take now? Are you going to take? I assume you're going to take Doc Rivers.
No.
no Bucks for you. All right.
I'm not. By the way, I do like that Clippers pick a lot. I thought about taking them or the Timberwolves instead of the Knicks when I took the Knicks. That's how I really did.
Any of these teams in the Western Conference, I would rather have probably over the Knicks, which sucks for the Knicks because, I do like their team. I just don't think, I think that there's still a pretty significant gap between them and the Cavs in Boston.
I'm going to take a team that 2 weeks ago I think would have been a team drafted instead of the Knicks and would have had a margin, like an outside chance. Now they feel more like the Clippers, where you're sort of betting on the come and everything has to fall right. But I'll go Memphis. I'll sort of reluctantly go with the Grizz. I mean, at the start of the year, you and I discussed this a lot. I liked them, and I thought that they had a chance to be a top 2 or 3 team, and they're obviously not going to get there. But again, like John Morant's missed 30 games. They're just barely 500 when he's been out. Triple J missed ample time. They made a mistake, I think, in firing Taylor Jenkins, but the actual basketball team is pretty good. And so if everything breaks the right way,
they are a good team. I mean, they should be, at least on paper, except for the problem is they can't beat other good teams. As we mentioned, 11 losses in a row against teams that are over 500, which really sucks. I don't really want to take another team. There's no other team in the NBA that I think
the Pacers are available.
Well, I'm going to take the Pacers, but just out of deference to you and homage to you, I'll take the Pacers and I'll throw them down because they're a professional basketball team and they can make life difficult in the Eastern Conference. They're not going to get out of the Eastern Conference. I'd be shocked if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second year in a row. But they're the best of a whole bunch of bad choices here, including, I wanted to bring this up, the Mavericks, who, of course, traded Luka Doncic to LA. They've got a lot of their players back, Bill. Anthony Davis is back. PJ Washington is out there. Gafford is back. Clay played last night. Dinwiddie played last night. Derek Lively is supposed to come back soon. On the bench last night, they had Najee Marshall, Max Christie, Caleb Martin, and Jaden Hardy. If you told me all those guys were playing, that's not a bad basketball team, you'd think. You have some useful pieces there. Bill, they lost to the Nets last night. The Nets are not trying to win basketball games. How do they lose to the Nets with those guys playing?
I mean, look, I think that is a team that is emotionally and spiritually broken. And I know that you probably don't subscribe to that stuff as much as I do, but I think that's a real thing. Can I tell you something? I think there are 3 teams, and I'm stretching on the Knicks.
Okay.
I think there are 3 teams that can win an NBA championship out of the East, and it's probably 2. I'm probably stretching. I think there are 7 teams that can win an NBA championship out of the West this year, and I'm excluding the Rockets. So maybe I should include them, but I'm not. But the Thunder are probably going to be the team. But can the Nuggets do it? Yeah, I saw that 2 years ago. Yep. Can the Lakers do it? Yep. Can Memphis do it? Probably the most unlikely of the group, but yes, the Warriors can certainly do it. The Timberwolves were in the conference finals last year. We just went through their stats, top 10 in both offense and defense. And the Clippers have Kawhi. The West is crazy. Dude, when's the last time 7 teams had a legitimate chance just to make the finals from either conference? It's crazy.
And in a year where Oklahoma City has run away with the Western Conference and could still end up with 70 wins if they end up winning out, where we're still, and likely MVP on their team and all the accolades that we mentioned, and we're still looking at the Western Conference as like it's a question mark. It isn't a foregone conclusion that the Thunder, who have been the best team all season, will come out of the West, because whoever they draw is going to be a really tough out for them, and we haven't seen them do it yet. So yeah, I cannot wait for the Western Conference playoffs.
I have a crazy question. I guess I know the answer because you took Denver, but if the Warriors fell and somehow played the Thunder in the first, right? The Warriors fall to the play-in, lose the first game, and the play-in, win the second game, and the Warriors win that series. And I don't want to put in the universe injury, but for some reason the Thunder lose. Most practical example being they play the Warriors. Who's the favorite after? Like, who is the favorite if the Thunder get removed? Who's the betting favorite?
Yeah. Oh man,
Denver?
I honestly don't.
I don't
guess it would be Denver, but I think it'd be really close between Denver, the Lakers, and Golden State. Like whatever the advantage is for whichever one of those teams ends up as the betting favorite, I don't think it would be significant. I think they'd be pretty closely lumped together. Man, what chaos that would be if you had Oklahoma City go out in the first round. Oof. All right, let's wrap it up with team of the night from last night.
It's super obvious, but I'm going to go with Boston. I mean, for all the reasons we discussed earlier in the show, they've won 9 in a row. They're playing incredible basketball. They're rounded in a form at the right time. Players who had been so-so are looking – I mean, they are playing the best basketball of anybody in the NBA at the exact right time.
Yeah, I don't know why I doubted them earlier in the season. I still think that they're gettable on any given night when their shot isn't going down. But the problem is, as you've been pointing out all year, 7-game series is different, right? I mean, if they have an off night, so be it, you lose a game. It's highly unlikely they're going to have their entire team, that everybody that they throw out there in their main rotation are shooters. They're all going to get cold for a 7-game series. It's going to be really tough for Boston to got in the playoffs. That's the 5th time that the Celtics have been team of the night. I was thinking about the Lakers because they snapped the Rockets' 12 of 13 game winning streak. I'll just take the Thunder, though. They've won 10 in a row. They still have a chance to get to 70 games. They've been incredible. I mean, no notes on the Thunder. What a season for them.
Should they? I got so excited I hit my table and like the whole camera's shaking. Should they chase 70? And by chase, I don't mean go. Should they just play their guys? And I think maybe there's no deep they can do without playing.
That's kind of what they're doing. That they've scaled back the minutes a little bit for these guys, and it doesn't matter. They're still winning games. That's the 8th time for Oklahoma City being team of the night. I think it's kind of just let's see if we do it. It's a gentleman's chase of 70 wins. If we get there, great. If not, we already have the number 1 seed locked up. We've had it locked up. Now it'll be like 2.5 weeks with the regular season left. And they end up as the top seed. So what an incredible season for them. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Tomorrow, though, should be a fun show, Bill. We're going to have Adam Finkelstein and Kyle Boone on the program. They're our draft experts. They're going to do draft risers and fallers coming out of the tournament. You and I, we kind of keep to the extent that we pay attention at all, it's like maybe one eye between the 4 eyeballs that we both have on who's coming into the draft. So we're going to get a little primer. The NCAA tournament is still in full swing. So those guys will join us tomorrow to discuss who's hot other than Cooper Flagg. So we'll do that tomorrow live on YouTube at 12 p.m. Eastern. You can find us on YouTube at Beyond the Arc CBS. So come and join us. But for now, for our NBA insider Bill Ryder, I'm John Gonzalez. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you tomorrow.